Look at that. I'm so rarely happy like that, you know?
You're welcome.
All right, so look, this is just the temporary opener. Just whatever you want. It's just all I had, all right? I thought you liked that title.
Pause. It's not the title. It's the look of the editing I'm nitpicking.
Yeah, okay.
To make everything the same in the, that's what I'm focusing on.
Well, what template would you like me to use for every caption?
I
What's
haven't decided yet. Keep going.
you decided? All right, fine. Everyone's a critic. So you've just said it's really artistic and skillful, and then I say art is not copying, copying is craft. Now, look, if you don't want this to be extremely biased, then I just put this in the trash and you do it.
Ah.
All right? I know it's a difficult one because this one's really strong.
No, because that is such a strong statement that it's like I've got 10 examples in my head already of people that have quote unquote copied art and call themselves artists and stuff. And
Yeah,
this is not no, but this is not our art. This is not our classical as creative topic where we spoke about that.
I know, but that's why it's only on for like 10 seconds. Look, I'll even shorten it so people can just go.
Well, that's a topic in itself. That's a topic in itself.
Then I should say, stay tuned for the episode titled Classical Music is Not Creative.
Do you mean art is craft?
No, I mean copying is craft. Art is not copying.
Is the difference between creativity and being inventive? Are they two different things?
Being inventive and creative are more similar than copying is to creating art. Yeah.
That's really triggered me.
Well, keep it as in it. Well, we could talk about it now. Hey, 6 weeks we've got to talk about this.
I know.
And this is why it's very
Does
irritating.
that mean, okay, if the violin shape is quote unquote a copy from the old guys, does that mean anything, including modern violin shapes, is still kind of a form of copying? Because you're copying a violin, and that design has come from the 1600s, which has come from apparently quote unquote not Andrea Amati.
If so, as you said in this video, big deal. You're making a Guarneri copy for template. Big deal. Even you think that that's not a big deal, that you're making a copy of something that's already existed in a different time.
Yeah.
I don't know why you were questioning that because you already said that without any prompting from me whatsoever. You were just like,
But I was thinking, you went back to the shape of the violin. I went back to the specific model that they were making. I find it weird that violin makers go, I'm working on this copy of this Viom or this Guarneri. In my head, I'm going, you're a violin maker, go and do your own shape. Why are you copying the same blueprint? It's the same point. That's like almost like the baby point to your point of every violin, not just a Guarneri copy, every violin is a copy. So
yeah.
I was half making your point, but my point's more like, I don't want to go and buy someone saying, this is a Testore copy. I'd rather the Testore.
Well, all the artists who have technique copy first and then they branch out and do their own thing. But that doesn't happen in violin making. What happens in violin making is that they learn by copying and then they don't branch out. They just continue to copy.
Yeah.
That's a market driven thing, as we already talked about in the video.
Art is not copying, copying is craft.
Come on, I thought that was kind of clever. Anyway, we don't need to leave it in. We just need to keep going through all this. Let's just talk through all the stuff that I put in and then
Okay.
have another video.
We'll call this behind the scenes to editing.
Yeah.
And the conversation keeps going. Let's have a whole nother playlist, Sarah, on our channel of the conversation keeps going. Because it's like we finished this topic, we finished this discussion, and it's still going.
Still going. It's still going. All right. So here's where you say.
It's incredibly confusing, isn't it? Strad, okay, or Amati, really when designed this model violin
Okay, so you've just said they designed this model violin that we have, Strad and Amati, right? And I'm not trying to pick at you, okay? I'm not. I'm just trying to show that these design details were already in place. And actually, these design details come from ancient Greece, ancient Greek Ionic column. Have you got a column there that you're about to show us?
No, I've got a big tripod. Can you see me or oh no?
I see you in a little teeny square.
It's my tripod.
So ancient Greek columns at the top, the Ionic scroll, if you want to look it up or whatever.
No, I know what it looks like.
Yeah. So that was a decorative feature to hey, look, we can do this because it's technology. Woo! See, I love technology. Ionic.
So you don't know how to use it, and you've got me teaching you Instagram.
I know. I really appreciate that. All right. So there's your scroll, and that happened earlier. Now in the Renaissance, as we all know, it was a revival of this stuff. Okay, and then people started decorating the ends of bits of wood with scrolls, right?
So where does it go from copying to inspired by?
Well, as you really fantastically point out, it's got to work. It's got to be a violin. And as I pointed out, the models are all there. The drawings are all there. The decorative features are all there. It's a recognizable thing. A violin looks like that. So I guess everyone's a bit hobbled by all of those things. You can't make it out of metal because then it sounds like something different. So
It's really determining what the constraints and what the considerations are of a violin making. The constraint is it has to have 4 strings tuned to a certain pitch, a bridge, a fingerboard, sound holes, sound post. Constraints, being wooden. The considerations which people believe to be constraints are the scroll and the reverse corners and the shape of the lower and upper bout and the tailpiece and shit like that.
yeah,
People are still stuck with it must have these corners on it.
yeah, yeah.
And what blew my mind when we were editing the first time was when I was staring at that image of the violin on your wall and you were talking about, and you said the word decorations. That's a different word from shape in my mind. And I just went, oh, now I get it. Now I actually get it. And it's made me worse.
They're so closely related. The
No.
something and how it's decorated are sort of intertwined.
No, the shape of a cake can be round or square, and then the decorations can be icing or flowers or something. So the shape of the violin is the upper and lower bout. The having a peg box which has a scroll on it, the scroll's the decoration.
Okay, yeah. Look, this is really good because I have spent that whole time when we were filming thinking you didn't get it because you just didn't get it.
No, but I still think this particular conversation...
I know now that you were differentiating between shape and decorative features.
And also the second half of it was, I was talking about purely function, you were talking about aesthetics, and I could not believe you were putting aesthetics over function because it was the whole, if it isn't broke, don't fix it thing. And I've reconciled that, that's what we were talking about, and I understand your point now. What blew my mind is, when we're talking about shape versus decoration.
Yeah.
Again, but that's come from 7 or 8 more conversations about this.
Because it's a tough one because it's ingrained. And I wanted to also say something about instrument makers. Because anyone's allowed to do it, and because it's mostly copying, you can buy templates, you can even buy kits to make them, then anyone can do it. And that's actually bad because anyone can go for 6 weeks to Cremona and get a little certificate saying they've done instrument making. Then they can open up a shop and they're basically hobbyists at best. So it's very difficult for us to distinguish who's a hobbyist and who's actually really good and very knowledgeable about.
Yeah, it's the same with iPhones having such amazing cameras nowadays.
Yeah.
Anybody can take a really great photo, but the skill of knowing what an SLR camera, not even a DSLR, an SLR, and printing themselves, which by the way, I have done, printing with like the paper and the ink to create your own image is a skill that fewer and fewer people have because they can pick up an iPhone and take a really great photo, which is not a bad thing. Let me make that point. It's not a bad thing that there's great cameras and you can take a great photo on your phone,
Yeah.
but that's not a skill of knowing how to work an SLR camera, understanding exposure and aperture and printing and things like that. And
And that's all the tech, but then there's the emotion of it. What actually are you taking a picture of anyway? And if you've only got one shot when the light has to be perfect, and you need years and years and years of experience to understand all those technical details. But then on the other hand, even if you do take a million photos with your iPhone and you want to put effects all over them, the experience you need to have with effects, like for example, I can't even work Instagram. I need experience, I need time, I need to know all that tech, and I need to know how to decorate the photos and all that stuff that young people know. Good on you, young people. Yeah, so it's all about skill, practice, and imagination, really. Because even if I worked Instagram perfectly, I might still take a photo of something dumb because I'm not naturally a creative person, right? So there's all this stuff that goes into violin now where anyone can do it, and the best way to make money from doing it is to make a lot of them or sell your old junk for way too much money. Anyway, that's, we've covered all that in this as well. So
keep playing.
Drag,
Oh, and then you split screen.
really when design is model. Then they were
I've done this. So we talk about ionic scrolls and all of that. And then there's this bloody table. Look at this. Look at the feet. I mean, there's scrolls everywhere. And I know that's not what you were talking about, but really, I would never, ever in a million years have a table like that in my house. And then to aspire to something that's... Can you see me at all?
Yeah.
Here it is. Scroll, blah, blah, blah. F-holes. And then as you point out, look at these modern things stuck on them as well.
Yeah, I know. And so you think that we need to make it stated, you're not trying to convince me to make me think like you. The whole conversation's from starting from scratch is you're not trying to convince me to be on your side, and I'm not trying to... Are you? Why are you smoking?
I don't think anyone would get the impression that I wasn't trying to convince you of it. I think there's an element of,
No, but you don't want me walking away from being your student and me thinking 100% exactly like you do. I don't even want that.
I think I just want you to see what I see.
Yeah, and I do, and that's the point of the conversations. I see what you see. So this conversation was meant to me be like, I see what you see and understand the shape of the violin is a copy from blah, 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 never modernized, blah, blah, blah. But it's made worse now because I said to you when I changed my tailpiece over, I don't care. Like, it works with 4 fine tuners, which it does. It works with 1 fine tuner, which it does. It's perfectly fine. Who cares? And I have a particular, I really like my chin rest, which is plastic and thin, and it's great. It's so comfortable. Now, because of this conversation, which I attribute to you, I'm looking at it going, see, I still don't particularly care about 4 fine tuners. It's not more professional to have only wooden fixtures, but I'm going, I can't have modern things on this old design now. I've gotten worse. You know what I saw the other day on Instagram, a photo of this guy playing cello?
Yeah.
Am I too loud? I can turn my mic down.
No, that's fine.
And it was a titanium skeleton look design of a tailpiece, which would look awesome on some kind of modern amplified modernly designed cello.
Yeah.
But on a beautiful wooden Baroque designed cello, I'm going, wow.
It's so mismatched. It's like
It's so mismatched. That's exactly what it is. So I think
wedding where your top half is a suit and the bottom half is some
shorts.
boardies with pineapples all over them.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Something there's 1,000 analogies you could make about something.
I don't blame people when they want to get fixtures on their instruments and it's all from the same wood. I don't blame people for thinking, you know, it has to look nice because it has to look, you know, it's got to look nice. But the bad narrative over the one fine tuner is more professional. We've shot that down. That's rubbish. But now I'm going, I can't. It's,
Look of it becomes more important because it's representative of something that's stylistic in a way. And
yeah, and then it goes to your point, and we haven't done this video yet, but when you take that stylistic design of a wooden acoustic violin and put it in next to a rock band,
yeah,
it's the same thing, but it's now the other way around, you know. Everything around you is modern, but you've got an old thing in front of you. So why don't you bring something modern into that setting, and then, you know, you wouldn't put an electric violin in with a string quartet. It's the same thing. It's just context matters.
Context matters. And does it actually matter? I mean, you know, not
It does it. There's bad narratives and myths being perpetuated around it.
and the only reason I hate bad narratives and myths is because you're probably holding bad narratives and myths in other topics as well, like, you know, any other. I'm not going to go on because I think we should just get through this. Now, you've said that they designed it. Then I put this bitchy comment up. Niccolo Amati did not design the violin. Neither did Antonio Stradivari. So that's provable. Because
That's another topic. That is such a, like, our topics are such bold statements.
that's fine. People can deal with that or not. You can look up the development of the violin and not
Wait, should you change that to Andrea Amati, not Niccolo Amati? Yeah, did I just school you?
Yeah, but we were referring to
Well, then just write Amati. People will be like, oh, this, whatever.
yeah, yeah, I think that's, and I'll get rid of Antonio just for brevity.
Yeah.
Right, and then you know, obviously music can go over this or whatever. All other instrument families had a development.
Let's frame it a little differently.
I think. Oh yeah, okay.
Why is it that woodwind?
I love your face here.
Because I know I didn't want to get into this conversation, and that's exactly where it ended up. And I knew the point you were going to make, and I was, yeah, I roll. There you go.
I frown roll. Look at the frown roll on your face. Look at it.
That's the meme. That's the meme, right? That's the Bitmoji right there, Sarah. That's it. That's why it's so brilliant, because now you are lecturing me, and I'm not accepting what you're saying.
And look, there's the little cute. Except, unfortunately, in the Victorian era, there is a revival of all that curly shit. So the piano doesn't look very convincingly.
That's just taste.
But look at, I love the, where, oh my god, stop. I love this. This is so Batman. This is so Marvel Comics.
It's hard to see that it's something quote unquote Batman when you just grow up going, that's the design of it. That's why it's hard to reverse going, yeah, but this is my modern violin, but it's a Baroque design. It's so hard when it is saturated all over our learning from day one.
Actually, it's interesting that you say that's what you grew up with, because I grew up with a harpsichord in my home.
Your childhood is an exception to the rule.
Yeah, no, but my point is, I saw harpsichords as a kid and played them and listened to concerts with them and countertenors and viola da gambas and all that sort of stuff. And I also, at the same time, had a really standard classical education with a modern violin and playing in symphony orchestras as a kid. So already, when I'm 6, 7, 8 years old, I'm realizing that there are two kinds of keyboards. One of them plays old music.
Yeah, again, your childhood was the exception to the rule. Most people will start by having either a little $100 keyboard, or they'll go and have lessons and it'll be on an upright piano.
Hey, I'm not saying I'm grateful.
Oh no! I'm not saying that like that at all. I'm just saying that you've probably had the, you know, you've been brought up with both sides of it. from the start. So you can look at it and go, yeah, that is a viola da gamba, and then, you know, there's a harpsichord, and then there's the modern piano, and then there's your piano from the 70s that you've got.
Yeah, yeah. That's what this graph, this poster doesn't show. All the funky 20th century designs leading up to this black.
What about what's the player piano? Like how,
The one that plays itself with a piano roll in it.
yeah, the roll, yeah.
Amazing thing. That's probably about 100 years old. You know, that's tech to the max. When that came out, that would have been incredible. But that's not exactly what we're talking about, because that thing plays itself. We're talking about all these different keyboards that you have to.
Yes, but it's something that was invented along the way, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was invented along the point that I want you to we sort of talked about this in a last editing thing we did, was we can't shit on the lack of development of the violin. It's rather we have to acknowledge it, but accept that development was frozen in time and why. We can't be like going back going, it never developed. Okay, there are things being made now, so maybe the development is sort of more nowish, 21st century, because all the repertoire that came between the Romantic era to the 20th century, if it was a different violin shape, those centuries would be completely different. Music would be different, like it would change everything. It hasn't, so that shape of the violin contributed to the music that came after it. And now the instruments that are around now are determining what's being made now. And what you've done with your semi-acoustic, composers are going, oh, I have more options of what to compose for. So that's contributing to the what music's being created. But the violin development froze centuries ago.
Yeah.
But we can't hate on that too much. It's like we just have to accept that that's what it is. But people don't know that. I didn't even really know that. That's the point that we're getting across, is it froze.
Is that it's people's ignorance that is taken advantage of by people who are profiting from selling old things.
Yeah.
That is the double whammy. People, their willful ignorance or their accidental ignorance, whatever. And then those people at the top who already have so much money, they are just in these incredible positions of authority and power, and entitlement as well. Like they feel
and auction houses and dealers by name that have the decades behind them going, well, we've been doing this forever, therefore that's giving us standing. And you and I is here going, yes, you've been doing it forever, and it's destroyed the industry, or it's tainted the industry.
Look, there are considerations when you're selling things that are of extremely high antique value. I mean, the antiques group, they have all these rules and regulations, and I mean, obviously people still try and sell things for too much money, but it just seems really, really unbelievably rife in the violin world, and it trickles down to almost every other layer, to the point where, you know, teachers try and sell junk for 5 times the price. Teachers make deals with violin shops that have all this junk to sell, and it seems especially rife in Australia. So that's the depressing thing. It's like, oh God, I just feel like we're fighting a really, really big secret conspiracy. I know that sounds really paranoid.
Yes.
Don't worry.
But it goes to the people that go and buy the instruments, that are the students and whatever. They don't know. Even the people that open shops that go, this is what it's meant to be, like a shop front, and there's all the violins hanging up. You know, like what you said in this video, people may not even know what they're selling.
Yeah.
So we can't, again, it goes to, my issue's not with the person that's got the shop front. My issue goes to the people that started this from way back, and that are the ones at the very, very top.
So we can't let it go, actually. We have to be really irritating to those people.
Oh, what I mean by letting go is not even letting go. It's just when we come to talking about the lack of development in the violin, we go, yeah, well, we can't change that. It's 2020, it's current year.
We can point it out so that when you
point it out, we acknowledge it, but it's we have to accept that that's where it froze, and it froze because of these reasons.
And those reasons still
permeate. Yeah.
Anyway, so what have we got?
Yeah, I don't need to see that. I've watched this 1,000 times.
Well, it hasn't changed. Oh, let's just go through that again. So funny.
How do you pronounce
Really, my mum's gonna love that bit.
Okay, we're gonna leave that in.
Can you actually do this for me? Can you make a little video that's exactly that moment as a little snippet so I can put on Instagram? That's hilarious.
Um,
So no, you just want to copy the cell and the music and the subtitle and then put it in a new project and just title it Jazz Snippet. Make a little snippet of that, just that's perfect for Instagram because the last ones I've made have been all you playing wrong notes or something and it's funny and people are having a laugh.
Oi! No! Jazz. Ba-da-da-da. I'll just have to put the music on again.
how do you pronounce what's his first?
I was going to put that up as a clip anyway with no sound and just have this moment. But that jazz that's perfect. Hey, we're at 200, no,
Yeah.
1,293 followers. So let's get to that 1,500 mark. I'm going to have another minty while you do
can't
work.
remember what the name of the. I can't go back. Violin Shaped Nightmares. What? How is that possible? Okay. I think we're done with this because I can't find the file now. Maybe it's not called that.
The second one, Violin Shaped Nightmares, second from the bottom.
Oh, why have I got two? Oh, I've got to get rid of that one. Okay, fine. This is so amateurish. Speaking of amateurs, I mean, I'm just such an amateur when it comes to this crap.
You're learning.
Yeah, we're all allowed to learn. Okay, you don't like that. That's got to go as well. It's very daggy, that one. And then the end. What's the end?
I'll send you a thing. Leave that for now. Just do the little